Back here in the DMV, voters in Virginia have chosen their candidates for the November election in most, but not all of the races. One that is still being decided in Virginia's 5th District. Incumbent conservative Bob Good is fighting to hold on to his seat. He is up against fellow Republican John McGuire. Good is trailing in that race now just by about 300 votes. Let's bring in our political panel this morning. Tim Parrish is a Republican strategist and partner at Statesman Strategies. Jared Leopold is a Democratic strategist and former spokesman for the Virginia Democratic Party. Gentlemen, good to see you. Tim, we just had you on our election coverage the other night. I want to start going through what we learned and what we still need to learn about what happened on Tuesday, and start with this 5th District. Now, this is a district where conservative Republican Congressman Bob Good, chair of the House Freedom Caucus, it was challenged by a Trump Republican, John McGuire. Jared, what are Democrats' take on this? Are you just sitting back with the popcorn and enjoying this? Or are there any signals for you as a Democrat in that district that there may be some divisions in that Republican side of the party and that you might have an opportunity there?
Look, it's always fun to watch Republicans go at it and eat your popcorn. I think it's interesting when you have a battle between two election deniers, because then you end up with denying the results, and it's hard to settle on the results. I think it's pretty clear that Congressman Good lost, and I think it's I don't think Democrats are likely to win that seat, but I think it's a place where we can watch the Republicans battle amongst themselves.
It's a solid Republican district. It would be a shock if somehow in November Republicans were able to take that seat. Tim, when you look at this, a lot of people might look at these two candidates and say, I see the same philosophy here politically. Why did this happen?
Well, what's highlighted in this district is that President Trump, the former president, is still very much the leader of the party, still very much has a lot of influence over the party. So the real difference here came down to loyalty. One of these candidates chose to endorse Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis, and one of these candidates chose to stick with Trump, and they were a day one Trumper. And so I think that was the big difference here. Beyond that, most of the policy differences, there's not big differences there.
And to put a finer point on it, it was Good who endorsed DeSantis.
Correct.
McGuire who would obviously endorsed Trump. I want to move on to some of the other races we've been looking at more regionally here around the DMV. The 10th Congressional District. Now, this is a district that Jennifer Wexton had represented for a number of years as a Democrat. She announced she was not returning to run for election because of health issues. State Senator Suhas Subramanian is the Democratic candidate. Mike Clancy is the Republican. Tim, this is a district that was Republican not too long ago, although this is the one that's really looked as the tightest race right now.
Yeah, it is. This district was represented for over 3 decades by Congressman Frank Wolf, and then moved into Republican hands even after him. And then kind of in the Trump era flipped. It's a district that is really anchored in Loudoun County, which has experienced an exponential amount of growth.
Jared, do you think this is one that they will be able to hold on to? Jennifer Wexton obviously endorsed the candidate that won the primary, so she does seem to still wield some influence over voters there. Will that carry on through the general election?
Yeah, I think this is looking like a pretty blue district. Loudoun County has been quite blue. It's been 10 points plus for Democrats every election for the last decade. I feel pretty good about it. I think Suhas Subramanian has a great story to tell, would be the first South Asian congressman from Virginia.
All right, and then down in the 7th Congressional District, another district that we did not think was going to be in play this year as far as the incumbent not running for re-election. But then, the surprise came when Democratic Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger announced that she was not going to run, that in fact she's going to run for governor next year in 2025. So you got yourself an open seat. Eugene Vindman winning as the Democratic nominee, Derek Anderson as the Republican nominee. You talk about these districts, like the 10th that not too long ago were Republican. Mm-hmm. The 7th looks very different geographically from than when Eric Canada, the former House Republican Majority Leader, was the congressman of it. But it's still a question mark. You don't really have an idea of what the 7th is these days. It seems to be more Democratic because it's pushed up into Fredericksburg. Is that what you're seeing as well?
Yeah, I think this will be the most competitive district in the D.C. metro area. You're going to see a lot of ads on Fox 5 about it. It'll be a really competitive race, and I think, it is trending Democratic. We had one of the biggest House of Delegates races there with Josh Cole won, flipped a seat in the Fredericksburg area. but it is a 50-50, maybe slightly blue seat, and it's going to be a really competitive one.
Derek Anderson, the primary, talked a lot about security, border issues as well too. Eugene Vindman talked about his role in standing up to Donald Trump. Is that where voters' heads are right now? Because both of these candidates have seemed to talk about big national issues, or is this more of a district that wants to hear about local things, the economy, what's been going on in law enforcement, public safety, things like that?
Absolutely. People are sort of over the Trump dominating the airwaves kind of thing. And I think they do want to talk about the economy, cost of living. They want to talk about schools, which Congress doesn't necessarily have a lot of control over. But they do want to hear the policy positions of their candidates on these local issues, what we kind of refer to as kitchen table issues.
And, we're obviously in a presidential year right now. And while these, congressional races are very important, the presidential race has been getting so much attention. We had two polls out in the last couple of days, one from Roanoke College, one from Fox News, both saying that they looked at Virginia as a tied state. Jared, do you believe Virginia is a tied state between Joe Biden and Donald Trump right now? Biden won Virginia 4 years ago by 10 points.
I don't think we're quite there yet. I mean, the weather's hot right now in June, but I don't know if we know that the politics is hot yet.
Yeah.
I think, 6 or 8 years ago, Hillary Clinton was tied with Trump in 2 polls in July and June, and she ended up winning by more than 5 points. So I feel like it is trending towards Biden, but Democrats are doing the work on the ground. We've got 6 offices already. Trump is 0.
And Tim, how do you see this? Are you feeling that Virginia is more in play than these polls are suggesting?
Well, I did hear Jared say yet. He said that we're not there yet. So we're trending that direction maybe. Look, we have to highlight the fact that Glenn Youngkin closed that 10-point gap and added 2 more in the McAuliffe race where he defeated the former governor. So I do think that Virginia could be in play, and if the candidates do the hard work, then we can see some changes.
I'm a little bit like Lucy in the Peanuts when she doesn't like November snowflakes. She only likes December. I like those fall polls a little bit better.
Right,
so we'll
right.
see. Tim Parrish, Jared Leopold, we appreciate both of you for joining us with insight and analysis on the Commonwealth of Virginia this morning.